It'll be fast. So this is Unity, which is you have two choices for A-list game development. You got Unity and you got Unreal. Unity's Microsoft, Unreal is not Microsoft. I don't know whose that is. Makes sense? I think Epic owns it. It'll be very similar to Roblox, except extremely more powerful. Like I was even watching in Roblox, if I change the color of a sphere more than 10 times a second, it freaks out. Where this game, you could with this tool, you could change it a million times a second. There, at some point it'll stress, but just a much more powerful world. Um, so here's a ball. Who joined? All right, same group. And we have a camera, and these are the two basic things, and a light source somewhere in the sky. So these build most worlds. Once you have light, if we went to the light source and we turned the light down, you'd have darkness, right? Opposite of light. Cool. So then I dropped a sphere, very simple, just 3D sphere through a sphere on the page. Then to teach objects behavior, you come to like add component, create a new script, call it whatever you want, and that just creates a C sharp file, I'm super familiar with C sharp for non-game development, so I was happy to see that. So this whatever we want file lives however long this ball's alive, and it can do different things one time or multiple times. So if we bail over to everybody good? What's going on, yo? Um, High five, welcome. So if we take this ball and we attach the script, the one we care about is this ball behavior script. We look back in code, it's all just smashed together here, not pretty, but it tells an interesting story. So the first thing I wanted was just to have a ball and to do something. And then I started having other desires like, hey, why don't you change your color, occasionally change your direction and speed, hop up and down occasionally, come back towards the camera because I've lost you occasionally, and why not do some pooping, right? And so each one of these are just tiny little blocks of code. And because they're being run as what's called a coroutine, I don't know, there's a lot of ways to say this, I imagine. It just means go run on your own thread and don't block the UI. Most game engines call them coroutines. So this block is just out here, and because I'm doing this while true, it's going to run forever. Sometimes you might attach a coroutine. It runs once. When it's all the way done, it quits running, like fill the gas tank to 100, and that's going to take 5 seconds, something like that. But when you're done, you're done. In this case, we've got things running forever, like occasionally, and then I've got this double occasionally, so randomly pick between 1 and 3 seconds to come back and adjust the speed of the ball. And then even that, I'm just saying, I don't know, randomly pick between half a second and 1 second for distance traveled per frame for the speed of the ball. And I think this converts to like meters IRL fake game time if you did some more math. But anyway, so change direction. Similarly, I'm just, because I don't really know much and three-dimensional worlds make my brain hurt, I decided to add pressure against the Z and the X axis and some range there. I want to jump up and down occasionally. That just means occasionally popping a little something into the y-axis in a positive way, right? And then these little calls here are just how we ask the game to do stuff. Since this script's attached to the ball, we're all just talking about the ball right now. So, yo, self, transform to this other place this quickly. And it'll just kind of do it, right? And then lastly, we're going to poop some squares, which in this case, we're like, I don't know, if you're a circle, you probably poop squares. I keep saying square and circle and all these things that don't even work because three-dimensional space has cubes and spheres. But anyway, I'll get there. So pooping a cube, creating it a little bit smaller, giving it some funky shape, so it's like a rectangle, putting it a little bit offset from where we are so that we don't try to both exist in the same space at the same time and we poop on ourselves and push ourselves through the mesh. And then we want a rigid body so that if we poop in the air, it'll eventually fall to the ground. And so we could decide how heavy poop is and how quickly poop falls, all these other goofy things. And right now, because it doesn't know the color brown and I didn't feel like looking it up, it's white poop. And we like to talk to ourselves sometimes. So there you go. And these yield returns are just basically saying, hey, no matter what's going on, every blank seconds, and every one of them has a different range, uh, take a deep breath, hang out, and then run the thread again, or at least report back to the thread. All right, so we come back to Unity. Again, all we did is put a ball on the page. We called it our king ball. Oh, and the other concept, if you find yourselves dorking around, all games seem to start with an empty world that includes no floor. So this ball would fall infinitely through space, but we've added a plane and we've given it a collider, which means it can be collided with. Actually, it looks like it was born with a mesh. Maybe I didn't need the box. All right, so we have our ball, we have our code, we hit play. Famous 2 hours learning a new tool. We have a ball. It seems to have some opinion and some timing in which it likes to change colors. It's doing a combination of big hops and little hops and poopings and color changings. And he's just going to wander around indefinitely, hopping around and pooping. So there, and because of gravity, that poop finally fell down, and the game takes care of silly crap like this. Like, I don't know, poop fell on another poop, so that's not gonna work. All right, I don't know. That was it. Just wanted to dip out and do something super out of the dark and see what I could come up with. Um, I partly dragged all y'all in here just to keep bugging you, but also like what do you teach it next? You know, how do you learn a new thing and come up with silly stuff like pooping and hopping your colorful way across the screen to learn something? And eventually, once we teach it something, there's a specific goal around this dots processing system that I want to express. But for now, anybody have any ideas? What would be your next 5 goals? What would you do to see how you do things, right? You get 2 or 3 balls, they bump into each other, they force each other into some behavior, something like this. Based on the way this code's written, I should be able to simply take a copy of that guy, which will have referenced that same ball script, and now you have 2 sets of all the same silly running. Um, so such as game development and code, and now we have 2 big poopers, and they're on their own trajectory. They have their own opinion of life. They're not master hive minded. They could be. Thanks for letting me interrupt your afternoon. What do y'all think? I need your exports. I can replace these balls with Shreks, and then depending on what you've already accomplished with little micro animations, I might catch up and dork around. But this could be Shrek pooping, right? We need a poop model. We need it, or stop pooping, one or the other. Too fun. That was really it. I didn't accomplish much else. I just thought I'd go play with a new thing and see if I could bend it to my will, and there you go. It's just gonna poop forever. In its own sense, you've got the basis of little organism. It could seek out food and friends. All right, yeah, I'd take your Shrek. Anybody else working on anything? Want to make some music? Want to come up with a real script for some silly little thing that could be built? What's everybody doing this summer? Can you can you put all of that effort into a GitHub repo, or can we share it on OneDrive, or is there a way we could collaborate a little on whatever you're building? Yeah, yeah, I'll look over your shoulder and we'll shove it all in a shared file. Uh, it's also fun to watch, right? The sense of building something. We now have all these poops. Every single poop is taking up a little space in memory, right? So we give games a hard time. Why do you delete my tire tread marks over time? Well, eventually you want to reclaim some of that obnoxiousness, yeah.